Today we're gonna talk about the perfect cast. And in my opinion, the perfect cast is really a big problem because it's based on an illusion. Bob Marley was once asked if there was a perfect woman, and he said, "Who cares about perfection? Even the moon is not perfect. The sea is incredibly beautiful, but salty and dark. The sky is infinite, but often cloudy. Everything that is beautiful isn't perfect. It's special. Every woman can be special to someone." I think the same applies to casting. How many perfect casts have you made in your past? How many perfect casts are you making now? And how many perfect casts do you plan to make in the future? The perfect cast is something that, in my opinion, sets the system of the learner under pressure in a subconscious way, that this expectation, the burden of this expectation is weighing too heavy on the caster. Well, in my opinion, it's better to forget about the perfect cast and look for something else, and that is called the best average. The best average out of 100 casts in that case. Let's take the best average out of 100 casts instead of the perfect cast. See, if you have a kid and it goes to school and there is a test in math, you wouldn't say to the kid, "You make the perfect result there on that test." You would probably say something to your kid like, "Go on, kid, you can do it, you do your best, and good luck with it," eh? But you wouldn't, from the beginning, put the pressure of the expectation of a perfect result on that kid in a math test, or in any test, probably. Because you would know that this pressure would probably be counterproductive to the result and the performance. So, but this perfect cast attitude is widely spread in the teachings of flycasting, and there's a lot of books and videos called Perfect Casting, the perfect cast, how to make the perfect cast, and la 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 la. The perfect cast is an illusion, and this industry tries to trick you with this illusion into buying more gear. See, the same thing that's happening is, buy this other rod here, you'll make it better. It's the perfect cast, this is the perfect setup. You don't know how much bullshit is out there yet, and how counterproductive the view of the perfect cast is in relation to the view of the perfect average out of 100. I'm a German forester originally, and this here is one of the books we studied with. This is, in English translated, this would be The Foundation of Silviculture. I'd like to ask you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine your casting would be a forest. If your casting was a forest, how would it look like? Just let that sink in. Now, let me tell you, and I don't want to sound arrogant or showing off, but I have the most diverse fly casting forest in the world. And it has a name. It's called the Spioline forest, as in Shaolin temple, but Spioline forest. That's just a name I gave my forest, my fly casting forest. I don't know what you do with your fly casting forest, but please allow me to give you a little insight into the dynamics of nature and the ecosystem, because I look at casting like an ecosystem. And what the forester does, for example, if he plants a tree, say there's 1,000 trees on an acre. I'm just taking a number here. I know that is too much, but 1,000 trees on an acre, and you plant them 1,000 trees, and you come after 10 years and you look at them trees, and out of them 1,000 trees, there's 10 trees that grow much better than the rest of the trees. 10 perfect trees out of 1,000. Do you know what the forester does with them 10 perfect trees out of 1,000? He cuts them down, and I explain you why. Those 10 trees out of 1,000, they grow faster than the rest, and they outshade the rest of the trees and outcompete them. So the rest of the trees, so 990 trees, or a good percentage of the 990 trees, they start to suffer under the competition and the dominance of them 10 so-called perfect trees. The German forester calls them Vorwüchse or Protze. And he goes there, and what he does is he cuts those 10 perfect trees down just like that. Because he knows these perfect trees, they will only cause problems in the future of that forest. And they will also not yield a good result, because normally those 10 fast-growing trees, they grow very fast and the timber is not very stable and not too good. So the forester knows, I concentrate not on the best 10 or on the perfect tree, I concentrate on the perfect average. And after cutting these 10 perfect trees, he goes through the forest and looks for the trees that are exactly that. The best average tree. And then he takes those best average trees and cuts away lesser average, lesser quality trees around them, so that the best average can grow to the highest possible level. And that is a natural principle that will yield, proven, the highest result. That means if you focus on the best average cast and not on the perfect cast, in your fishing you will catch more fish, because the best average cast will deliver a higher yield. Because by focusing on the perfect cast, you will have too much pressure on your system, you will have too much casting faults, you will have too much tangles and too much exhaustion. For example, I can cast 100 feet no problem. But I don't want to do it all day long, because it is exhausting in a way. So I settle with my fishing to a distance of only 70 feet, and that I can do that all day long without getting tired and enjoying myself. And let's be honest, with those long casts, a lot of presentations suffer because they're not as precise often are. And apart from all that forestry knowledge I'm pumping into here, you best average and all that crack, long casts rarely hook fish, and the best anglers I know are all short line casters. They don't cast far to catch the fish. They prefer to go closer to the fish because they know where the fish are. And the closer you are to a fish, the easier it is to control the presentation and all the factors. So all that perfect cast and all that distance casting and all that is well and nice, But you have to ask yourself, how will I reach that perfect cast ever? Or is it only inflicting pain on my system because I'm trying to make that perfect cast all the time happen and it just doesn't? Why does the perfect cast not happen for you? That is the core question. What is a perfect cast? Why is it not happening for you? And not even for me many times? And what could be a better solution to get rid of that pressure and that pain? Because I learned the hard way that buying new gear every year will only throw your old casting faults maybe half a foot or a foot further by average, but it will not, never, decrease the amount of mistakes. Buying new gear will not make you a better caster. Understand that. What you want to do to get more control over the system is to learn more about control. And the teachings in fly casting only teach a very low level of control. My teachings teach a higher level of control because I have learned how to feedback myself during the cast and not after the cast. And feedbacking yourself during the cast, during the process, walking in your forest and looking at the trees while they're growing, not after you have them cut, gives you better result, better control over the end result. The teachings in casting have a major other big problem, and that is they are only always looking for the symptoms and rarely for the cause. If you make a cast, what is called a loop and all its shapes is a symptom of the cast, not its cause. A casting instructor saying to you, you have to develop a feeling for that and you have to cast a tight loop, is like a shooting instructor saying to you, yeah, take the gun in your hand and hit the middle. You have to make a good shot. It's about that valuable. That is the reason why your level of control is not really there. Do you want me to prove that to you, that fly teachings of fly casting deliver only a very low level of control with a little question? Let me think of one. What happens to your casting in darkness? I'm not answering this question now, but this is another question that is phenomenally good to prove how a higher level of control can be easily reached by opening your mind and by unlearning a few things that are incorrect in the teachings of fly casting. It's just the way it is, scientifically proven by the science of control theory. What happens to your casting in the dark and why does that happen? Leave a comment down below and we discuss in a further episode casting in darkness versus casting in light. Control is what your mind makes out of it. Making a fly rod the extension of your arm is not coming from the fly rod, it's coming from the head. I wish you tight lines, and I thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, and we chat soon again. Tight lines, everybody, and please do not forget, we don't own the water owns us.